Hello, my name is Michael and I'm going to show you how to put your saxophone together. A lot of videos on the internet exist on this very subject already, but I find that they often miss out on answering a lot of questions that beginners almost always have. So I'm going to make that really easy for you, and I assume if you're here, you're probably a beginner. So you're going to begin, all you beginners, with your neck strap. And the reason you're going to start with your neck strap is so that your hands are free later and you're not juggling around all the expensive pieces of gear you just purchased. Keep it safe. Put the neck strap on first. Make sure that the fastener is all the way towards the hook, like I've done here. And quick note for adjusting these, if you need to bring the fastener towards the neck strap itself, grab the hook end, grab the fastener, pull in opposite directions. That's really easy. If you need to go the other way, grab the neck strap with your thumb, grab the fastener, pull in opposite directions. Really easy. A lot of people get tangled up right there. Do it that way, you'll never get tangled up. The reason you open it all the way to the hook is so you don't mess up your hair. Okay, so now that the neck strap is on, make sure that the straps lie flat and the buckle is facing forward. Leave that where it is for now. Next, you will grab the saxophone neck, which looks roughly like that, and some cork grease. This is not chapstick. Don't put it on your lips. I've done it before. Best way to avoid doing that is avoid putting it in your pocket or wherever else you put your chapstick. Put a little bit on the cork. Rub that in so it's evenly coated. You don't need a lot. I usually just like the excess on my leg. Then you're going to grab the mouthpiece. Note that there's nothing attached, no ligatures, no reeds, no mouthpiece cap. It's much easier to adjust this way. With both hands, put the pieces together, twisting back and forth in opposite directions. You don't need to go all the way. About halfway is a good starting point. You're probably going to change that anyway when you're tuning. Should be right about here so far. Make sure you've lined up the hole in the mouthpiece, the window, with the hole in the neck. Make sure those are lined up. You can, when you're playing later, you might adjust slightly to, what is that, 7 o'clock or so, but for now, keep it lined, the two holes lined up there. Next, you're going to take your ligature, which is the metal ring or sometimes leather ring. So you're going to take the wide end first. There's a slightly wider side. See it better if I hold it like that. One end is wider than the other. Take the wide end first, put that over the mouthpiece, like so. If it doesn't fit, turn it around, you put it backwards. Note that I have an inverted ligature. All that means is the screws are resting on top of the mouthpiece. The way to tell what position the screws on your ligature are supposed to go are however you put the mouthpiece, the screw tabs will need to point to the player's right. So make sure that the screw tabs are pointing to the player's right, or you might get an uneven pressure on your reed from your ligature, and you'll just look a little bit silly. So make sure that's in the correct place. And next you're going to take your reed. You may have noticed if you're a saxophone veteran, and if you're a saxophone veteran, I don't know why you're watching this video, that I did put the ligature on first. This is for a good reason. I put the ligature on first so you don't damage the reed when you're putting the ligature on. So if you do it like this, take the ligature, move it up, give yourself a little room, slide the reed down, keeping it still with my thumb, line up the sides of the reeds to the side of the mouthpiece, make sure the tip of the reed is lined up with the tip of the mouthpiece, and then bring the ligature down to just a little bit below the vamp, or where the reed bark begins. Let me see if you can see that. Right about there. You can see barely where the bark begins. Just a little bit under that is where you want to put the ligature. Some mouthpieces have an engraved ring around the circumference of the mouthpiece. If you have that, that's where you can line up the ligature too. And back to the reason why I put the ligature on first. If you put the reed on first, you can do this, but I don't recommend it. If you put the reed on first, like so, and then put the ligature on, what a lot of beginners do is they accidentally, at this point, split the reed in half with the ligature. So to avoid that, always put the ligature on first. Okay, once that's in position, tighten this a little bit. You don't need to hulk out here. You want the reed to vibrate freely, so don't tighten that too much. Just so the reed's not gonna move around when you're trying to play. So once you've got that settled, put the mouthpiece cap on. Make a habit of doing this whenever you're not playing, even when the saxophone is fully assembled. I've had plenty of reed get ruined just by not watching reed brushes against my shirt. It's game over. Got to get a new reed. So make a habit, learn from my mistakes, put the mouthpiece cap on every time you're not playing. Put the neck down for now. So next you're going to grab the body of the saxophone. That's the main part of the saxophone. And note that I'm grabbing that by the bell first. That's going to be the safest place to hold the saxophone from. If you're grabbing it by the keys, you might bend some keys. So any leak on the saxophone is going to make it much harder to play. If you've bent keys, air will leak out of the keys. They'll be hard to make a sound when you're trying to learn how to make a sound. So avoid that by grabbing by the bell, or sometimes you can grab up here as long as you're staying away from any moving parts. Don't grab by up here alone. Do that with the bell. You're then going to find the neck strap hook that you so nicely for yourself set up earlier. You're going to find the ring on the back of the horn. Absolutely double, triple check that this is not going to move anywhere so you don't drop your new instrument. Once that's in place, you can let that hang. Whoops. Anyway, remove your accessories. If you have these, key leaves are great. I highly recommend those. You probably don't have those if you're just grabbing your new horn out of its case. You'll probably have something like this, an end plug. Make sure you remove that. Can't fit the neck in there with the end plug installed. The reason that's there, by the way, is to protect your octave mechanism inside the case while it's resting. So remove that, or remove any pad savers if you have them. Pad savers are those giant pipe cleaners. If you have one, by the way, if your horn came with one, throw it out. They're bad for your horn. They're supposed to save pads. They're actually unsanitary and kill your pads faster than anything. Anyway, throw that out. If you have it, take the end plug off of that. Save that part. You can use that. But anyway, make sure the saxophone is free of any extra accessories. Then you can take your fully assembled neck mouthpiece and reed, slot that into place. Note that I'm holding the neck towards the body of the saxophone, never ever towards the mouthpiece, because you could put downward pressure on the mouthpiece, bend the neck down, ruin your neck. Protect your neck. Make sure that's in place. Tighten the neck screw. You can hulk out a little bit here. Just make sure you can undo it when you're finished. But you don't want this to move at all. And your saxophone is fully assembled. You just need to adjust so that when you get into playing position, you won't be searching for the mouthpiece with your head. So that's a little bit too low for me. I'm going to bring that up. And ready to go. Thanks for watching.